Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we've got another big boy joining the fight in China, the Deepal S09, a brand new 3-row 6-seat full-size SUV. In 2025, these kinds of full-size SUVs are booming in China. First, we had the Denza N9 and then the Lincoln Co 900, the Ito M8, and now the Deepal S09. I know there are more on the way too, like the Ziegler X9. People are already calling it the Kalilan of Hangzhou Bay Area. And another budget-friendly full-size SUV, the Chery's Fengyun T11. Now let's get back to this big boy. It's a 5.2 meters long, 2 meters wide, and a 1.8 meters tall, with a 3.1 meter wheelbase, almost exactly the same as the other nines. The L9, M9, N9, so many nines. It seems like these days the number 9 is basically the symbol of full-size SUVs in China. So next time you see an SUV from China with the 9 in its name, you know it's a full-size SUV. Well, probably. I know that in the US, these size wouldn't really be considered a full size. And they have some gigantic SUVs like the Escalade and the Suburban, which are over 5.6 meters long, 2 meters wide, and 2 meters tall. They're more like a trucks, honestly. But in China, it's almost impossible to park something that big in the inner cities, so we stick to the European standards. I have to say, this thing almost looks like a facelift version of the Li Auto's L9, especially from the side. There's a full light bar running across the front, and another one stretching across the tailgate as a tail light. Li Auto's success in China has definitely inspired a lot of lookalikes. From the exterior styling to the interior layout, I'll walk you through the interior in just a bit, and even the powertrain is similar. Most of the nines now offer an EREV version, and that stands for Extended Range Electric Vehicle. Basically, it's an EV with an engine that acts as a generator. This one is no exception. On the chassis side, it's got a single chamber air suspension and CDC dampers. The rear-wheel drive trims offer 314 horsepower, while the all-wheel drive versions step all the way up to 492 horsepower. It does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 5.9 seconds. These figures are slightly lower than the average of the other nines. But I think the 5.9 seconds is way more than enough. And when it comes to autonomous driving and the smart cabin, it's equipped with a LiDAR, millimeter wave radar, and countless cameras. Honestly, I have no idea how many cameras it has, but the real point isn't the hardware. The point is it comes with the Huawei's ADS system and Harmony cabin system. And that means you need to pay another 10,000 RMB to unlock the full potential of its autonomous driving features. Now, it's okay. I know 10 grand isn't a small number, but if you don't want to pay it, no worries. You still get highway autonomous driving, and trust me, it will make a long distance road trip a lot easier. We'll talk about the price range at the end of the video because I want to show you everything this SUV has to offer first. And that way, you can decide for yourself whether it's a good value. Now let's hop into the driver's seat. First impression, it looks like Xpeng's P7 Plus. Look at those vents and the white color wood pattern panels and the steering wheel. Wow, it's really Xpeng's style. Well, the door doesn't have soft close, which is a bit disappointing. This is the top trim, which means it won't come with the soft close, and there is no option for it, even if you are willing to pay for it. Let's take a look at the surroundings. There are many things that are very similar to Li Auto. When you enter, you can see two large screens. The size of these two screens is also similar to those in Li Auto. Then, if we look at the position of the air conditioning vent, the layout is also quite similar. The interior design overall is still slightly better than the others, as it incorporates some decorative elements. For example, although there is no digital speedometer here, a small design detail has been added with a light color wood grain to make it less monotonous. Now let's look at the steering wheel. Leather feels a bit rough and is slightly harder compared to the others. The overall visual impression is still quite good, and it has scroll buttons on both sides, either four-way or five-way. When you press one of them, the 360 view pops up over here. We have an automatic parking button. And what's this little heart shade button? Let's take a look. Oh, it's for playing music. No, wait. I'm not sure what it is for. You can press the buttons on the sides to activate the 360 camera. On the right hand side, this one is the media control buttons on the right. Below that, we have the voice command button. The heart shape button seems to be a customizable button. As for the door panels, it's very common nowadays in China's EVs. The window switches are now a push and pull type, different from the older ones that could be pressed down and lift. There are two buttons, one for the door lock and the other for the window lock. The layout on the door panel is relatively simple. Everything you can touch is covered by soft leather, which is really nice. These high-frequency speakers are decorated with some shiny metal covers. Looking up, there is an emergency hazard light button, an SOS button, and the switch for the sunshade. Speaking of the sunshade, this is a front row manual sunshade, which is available across the entire range, and it doesn't support electric adjustment. The reason for this could be related to the huge rear entertainment screen. We'll talk about that later. The 21.5-inch rear entertainment screen is extremely large, much bigger than the one in my Li Auto L9 earlier. The button controlled the sunshade for the rear panoramic sunroof. Let's close it. Now let's check out the central bridge. In the front, there is only one wireless charging pad, which has a ventilation system. Now let's see if it can activate my Samsung wireless fast charging feature. Well, it works. It activated the fast charging, which is nice. Another great engineering is the position of those vents, which are directly in front of the charging pad without obstruction, unlike Li Auto, where the wireless charging panels are hidden underneath the vent, causing the cold air from reaching the charging pad, and my phone will be overheated, even though I spent extra money to retrofit it with the cooling charging pad. It still overheats. So I had to add a small device to redirect the cold air to prevent overheating. But with this design, there's no this kind of issue. You just need to adjust the vent slightly to direct the cold air towards the charging pad, and the phone will stay cool during charging. Now let's look into the armrest storage. What's this? Well, it's a refrigerator here. It's a dual layer design. I'm not sure if you can store smaller items between those two covers, but it seems like you can fit thin items. I don't know. If you opt for the fridge, you won't have the storage space in the armrest box. The fridge is compact but deep. It can hold up one, two, three, and four. Let's check out the bottles. I think these are 330 millimeters. Anyway, it can store 8 bottles in total, and the fridge uses compressor and can reach the -6 Celsius for cooling and up to 50 Celsius for heating. Now, let's look into the infotainment system. On the left side, you can see many categories of options: light, display, connection, and the system setting. Now let's check out if it can switch to English. Yes, yes. Okay. So first of all, a quick controls. You can open the fuel cover, tailgate, lift the tailgate, fold and unfold the side mirrors. Okay, there's no such button on the door panel, and the sunshade below are the locks option: unlock on park and drive away auto lock. Mm, side mirrors auto tilt when you are reversing, and auto fold when you lock the car. And you can adjust the side mirrors in here. Interesting. It might be a little bit not that convincing if you are not familiarized with this car. You may cannot find where to address the side mirrors. No, those harp-shaped buttons are customizable. You can customize those buttons in here, including capture video dash cam, switching driving mode, pedestrian warning sound, front defrost, etc., etc. So many options in here. And you can even take photo inside the cabin. Well, I guess there are cameras inside the cabin. Below a more a single paddle mode, and the trunk height, memory. And okay, there's one interesting option that the smart weather body control automatically unfold and heat mirrors or close windows. I think it addressing the all those functions, all those features based on the weather. Now the driving mode. You can have eco, comfort, sport, and custom. Inside custom, you can change acceleration, steering, standard, comfort, sport, suspension height. You can set it to auto, which means it can address the height automatically. Energy regen, a standard mode, strong, and the brake pedal. You can have two mode, comfort and sport, and then yeah, out here you can also configure your brake mode, and you can switch between the different energy types, prefer electric battery for battery hold, prefer fuel and electric only. That means you just use electricity to drive your car, then change all those electronic stability control. A brake disc wiping. Wow, interesting. Maintain braking ability when it's raining. Wow, that's I've never seen this function in any other vehicles. I don't know if you guys have this have ever seen this kind of option in other cars. And this one click leveling is the most interesting thing because when you're camping outside, you can address your car, your body's level. Wow, that's great for someone who really loves camping. And in here, you can address the so many things about the sound, the systems. I don't know. I'm not a sound expert, and I am not. Let's just say in Chinese, I have a wooden ear that could not recognize which sound system is better. And in here, interior light. Of course, you can have ambient light adjustment in here, and the exterior light. You can adjust the low beam, high beam, and you can set it all to auto. So everything will all light will turn on and off on its own automatically. And if you lock your car, that you can set the headlight will turn off, delay 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Okay, that's the Aurora rings. Energy. Now we can see this car's battery is now at 68%. I think this car is equipped with the 50, 40 kilowatt battery. I don't know. I'm not sure, but at least that it can it's sufficient for you to drive on your daily commuting. And here is the driver assistance. You have a lot of options here: parking assistant, advanced driving assist, and because it uses Huawei's autonomous driving features, so you have to pay 10,000 RMB to activate the advanced driving assistant feature. But without activate that advanced driving assistant feature, you can also have autonomous driving on the highway, and you can offset the speed limit. You can overspeed the 20 kilometers and 20%. And you can also have a adaptive cruise control feature in here. I know there are many guys that said I don't need all those advanced driving assistant feature. I only trust myself, so you can only activate adapted cruise control feature. Yeah, you got it. No display. Well, it has AR augmented head-up display, but I think I've seen so many AR HUD in so many cars, but I think one of the downside of the AR head-up display is the picture. When you look at it, it seems like it's a little bit vague. Seems like you can't focus on it. I don't know. It looks really weird, at least from my eyes. I don't know other guys. Now let me show you. Let me show you. See, see, it's a little bit vague. It's not sharp. The picture is not sharp. Eh, let's get back to this infotainment. These are connections that you can connect with the car with Bluetooth, wireless charging. And if you have a Huawei mobile phone, you can use Huawei Share to project your phone's interface on these big screens. And this is a smart cabin control. Okay, you can have always ready. That means you don't need to speak a specific word to wake up the system, just hi, blah 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 blah. You don't need that. You don't need to say that in advance. You just speak your command directly, and the car will recognize and control the car based on your voice command. And it comes with Harmony OS. The version is 4.00. I think it's the latest version. I'm not sure. And where can I check the advanced autonomous driving version? Let me find. No, not here. Well, about. So, okay, here is the ADS Pro V3.3. I think it's the latest version also as well. So no matter hardware and software, all those smart driving or smart cabin, the integrated solution they purchased from Huawei, let's say supplied by Huawei. And then here you can, okay, here you go. You got it. You can slide your central island in here. Let me try it out. Oh, oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I don't know why. What the heck? I don't care. To check out the seat settings. All four seats has heating function, but only the first row and the second row seats are support ventilation and massage. And there is space adjustment, and you can see the second row captain seat both have a zero gravity function. And you can also have some close double seat. Okay, now you can see here is another entry getting to some different interior space adjustment. Okay, wait, okay. All those seats are moving right, including the second row. All seats are moving, still moving. Well, you can't see it, but you can hear the sound, maybe. Okay, the adjustment is finished. The rear door panels are also covered with leather. Regardless, at this price point, the luxurious feel that comes with this configuration is really satisfying, okay? We can see that this car is actually not the top trim because the sales representative mentioned that the top trim has a Alcantara material on top. But we can see that this car still uses a fabric material for the roof. Now, as for the rear legroom, well, I can only say it's average now, but let's try adjusting the seat all the way back. All right, this is the furthest I can go. The legroom is definitely enough. When the seat is adjusted all the way back, it moves slightly inward. If you adjust it forward a bit, it shifts to the left. I'm not sure if you can see that. Now, let's check out how to open the rear screen. 你好，深蓝。你好，深蓝。二排乘客你好。打开后排屏幕。好的。Okay, the rear screen is up. This screen is impressive. It's much larger than the 16-inch one in my Li Auto's L9. This is a 21.5-inch screen, very large. It doesn't have the ultra-wide horizontal screen like the one in Lincoln Co 900. It's 16 by 9 or 16 by 10 aspect ratio. I don't know exactly, which is pretty standard. On the front seat backs, just like in my L9, the left side doesn't have a small table, but the right side does. Let's open it up. Oh, it's basically the same design as the one in my L9. It should be a common design, with the supplier providing a standardized product. All right, let's take a look at the armrest. On the right side of the armrest, there is a bunch of buttons, including heating, ventilation, and what's this? Massage? Let's try it out. Oh, yes, it's the massage function. And here we have the button to address the zero gravity seat to open and close them. This seat has a armrest on both sides. As you can see, the seat is actually done better than the one in the auto. Well, the armrest on the door side, it's definitely more comfortable because you don't need to stretch your arm out, especially for people with slimmer buildings. Have this armrest and makes your arms feel more natural as they rest there. You don't have to stretch your arm out to reach the door panel. This is a nice feature, of course. It does cause some inconvenience. For example, when you get out of the car, you open the door, you'll notice that the armrest gets in the way. You have to retract it before you can get out. This could be a slightly inconvenience. Now let's show you the zero gravity seat. I'll demonstrate it with the seat on the right. As you can see, the backrest is reclining and the footrest is lifting now. Let me move into it. Let's see how the zero gravity seat feels. I need to be really careful not to hit the big screen hanging up here. Wow, it's way more comfortable than the one in my Liado L9. Now I understand the true purpose of the armrest on the door panel. When you're in zero gravity mode, you can rest your arms on both armrests without having to stretch your arms across. You can't rest your arms on the door side at all, literally. We can see that for your reference, I am 1.7 meters and my feet can rest on the footrest, though not entirely. The entire lower rack and thigh are well supported. The only thing that's slightly hanging is my feet, but other than that, it's really well done. I don't know, I could sleep in it for a couple of hours. It's a good way to take a break. Let's return the seat to its original position. It can be adjusted back with just one button pressed, and it moves back. Then it moves forward and to the right, closer to the door panel. If the armrest on the right side of the seat were motorized and could adjust itself, that would be even better. Okay, we can see that the co-pilot seat lacks the boss button and the passenger behind it can't move it forward. Let's try and see if I can use a voice command to make it move forward. 你好，深蓝，把副驾座椅调到最前。See? Basically, you can control every single part of the interior with the voice commands. You don't need to fumble around looking for buttons to do it. Alright, now the legroom is much better. The fridge in the front doesn't have an opening at the rear bottom, unlike my Liado L9 where there is a drawer that can be opened to access things inside. In this car, if rear passengers want to grab something from the fridge, they must move the center console back. However, when moving it back, be careful to retract the inner armrests, or they will interfere with the console's movement and prevent it from sliding all the way back properly. Passengers need to be aware of this during use. Actually, I think the car's cabin system should offer a reminder function. When the center console moves back, the car could have a voice reminder please retract the second row's central armrests, which would make it much better. Once the console is moved back, it's much easier to grab things. However, to access the fridge, the movable center console feels like, I don't know, over engineering. On the other hand, for easier access to the cups in the cup holder, this design works much better. Rear passengers won't need to bend down and reach your arm, reach your hand to the bottle or cups. But I don't know, I still think the movable center console is a bit over engineering. Personally, I would prefer just bending down a little bit to grab a bottle or cup. The movable console sacrifices so much space. In my Li Auto, I can have both a fridge and storage, but in the S09, it's either fridge or storage. And there might be another downside. This movable central console could generate noise after long-term use. This is purely an assumption. I don't have anything substantial to prove it. Wait a second, I just thought of another benefit. First, when the central console moves back, it frees up a large amount of the space in the front, and that can be used to store bags or other items. Additionally, the driver can easily move to the co-pilot seat. So, what's the advantage of this? Well, for example, when parking and the driver's side is next to a pillar or wall, making it inconvenient to get out, you can easily move to the co-pilot seat and exit from there. I think this flexibility in the front seating layout is much more practical than just giving rear passengers access to something inside the fridge. Actually, what excites me the most about the whole car is this massive screen in the back. It's really huge. It when watching movies in the back, it would be incredibly enjoyable. Now let's take a look at the space in the third row. As you can see, the floor is completely flat, making it easy to walk into the third row. Okay, I've just adjusted all the seats to the default standard positions. So as we can see, the leg room in the third row is only about 10 cm. However, there is a good one. Thanks to the completely flat floor, the space under the second row seat is quite large, so you can fully stretch your legs inside. Also, just like the front, there are seat back adjustment buttons here. So, what do you think of the headroom? Yeah, the seat back is already reclined to the maximum. Oh, I noticed something different here. On the right side, there is no Type-C charging port, but on the left side, there is a Type-C charging port. It's weird. Both sides have a C heating button. Also, the cup holder is way too small. Any slightly bigger bottle won't fit. However, there is a relatively large storage space by the window, but it's quite high up, so it's a bit inconvenient to take things out from there. Now, let's take a look at the trunk. It's big enough, about 20, 40, and the depth is around 50 centimeters. Uh, There are buttons to fold and unfold the seat back. Now let's fold them more. As you can see, the floor is completely flat, which is particularly useful for fitting large items inside. There is a huge underfloor storage, about the size of a 20-inch luggage. But like I mentioned before, once you've packed the car, you'll have to remove everything on top to access this hidden space. So, my advice is to only put things in there that you'll never need to use. But why the heck would I store anything I'll never use? Apart from all these, I didn't find any power outlet in the trunk, which means you can't put another fridge in there. Alright, we've covered most of the car's specs. I just finished the test driving this vehicle, and whether it's NVH, which stands for noise, vibration, and harshness, or driving experience, it's very similar to my L9. As for the autonomous driving system, there's no doubt about it, as Huawei's ADS is a top tier in China. Now, let's talk about the price of this car. The starting price is 240,000 RMB. Yes, you heard that right. This full-size SUV starts at only 240,000 RMB. Of course, the specs you saw earlier, including the Huawei intelligent driving hardware and software, are available in the 310,000 RMB four-wheel drive top trim. But remember, when you compare it to its competitors, Li Auto's L9, Denza N9, Ito MA, Lincoln Co 900, all those cars have a starting price of over 300,000 RMB, and their top trims go above 400,000 RMB. The price range of the Deep Blue S09 or Deepal S09 is a full 100,000 RMB lower. While the S09 specs ain't as many as its rivals, like missing power doors, soft close, and having a manual sunshade in the front with just a single wireless charging pad, these are not the primary factors that consumers focus on when deciding whether to buy a car. What's more important is that in this price range, it offers equally large or even more flexible space, air suspension, and the full suite of Huawei's intelligent driving hardware and software. These are the key features consumers care about. So, after the Deep Blue's S09's price was announced, Lincoln Co 900 significantly lowered their official price by 40,000 RMB, bringing the entry-level trim down to 300,000 RMB. In any case, this year is shaping up to be a big year for full-size SUVs in China. At least two more full-size SUVs will be launching soon. I know that Russia and many Central Asian countries really love Chinese-made large SUVs. If you're not in a rush to buy, you might want to wait a little longer because with such fierce competition, other automakers are likely to lower their prices to boost sales. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow our channel as we will continue to bring you more news on Chinese electric vehicles. Bye.